how does Mexico, how do Mexicans feel about this influx and expats showing up into their country? How do they feel about people coming in and taking their jobs? Well, they're really not. Nobody's coming from the United States or Canada coming here and working and taking jobs away from Mexicans, okay, first of all. Well, the positive side of this, the positive spin about expats living here, it's bringing money. Expats are moving here to use the money that they've been working for their entire life to spend it here in Mexico. So if you're a small business owner, this is good. This is a positive for you. So if you own a jewelry store, if you own a small grocery store, if you own a rental car company, if you own a real estate company, I mean, this is all positive income for any of the locals that live in this area. So the more the merrier. You know, you're going to have, that's the positive impact of expats moving to this region of Mexico. When you're looking at prospecting, this is probably the science or the most difficult thing to do as a potential investor is, where do I buy? Right? I've heard about Cancun, I've heard about Playa, I've heard about Tulum, all the places in between. The prices are already expensive. They're already 150, 200,000, 300,000. Where are these places that people talked about in the past that it's $35,000 to get involved in Mexico? $50,000 you own your own piece of land in Mexico. Where do I prospect to find that? Well, I'm going to give you a tip. I'm going to give you some not insider trading information, but some of the history behind where to do prospecting. If you're looking at, in general, in history of mankind, where most of the developments back in the day were along rivers, right? You would have ports, and in those ports is where you'd have biggest commerce happening. These cities would be huge because they'd have bodies of water around them, and shipping would come in and out, right? So it was an area of trade, a central trade station, so to speak, is where these cities popped up around the world, and historically for mankind. Just like the fishing villages, Playa del Carmen exploded, the ruins in Tulum exploded, Cancun, being a vacation destination, exploded. So where do I go now? Where can I invest my money? Well, let me give you a tip. The Mayan Trail Train. What am I talking about, the Mayan Trail Train? What do I mean by that? Well, along this Mayan Trail, along this Mayan train trail, and which are the railroad tracks, you're going to have different spots of stopping along the way. It's not just going to be one railroad with one train never stopping along the way from Mérida all the way down to Chetumal. There's going to be stops along the way. So what you need to look for is, where are these strategic train stations going to be at, and the land around there. For example, there's a specific project that I've been investigating into where you can get 1,000 square meters, which is about, 10,000 square feet, give or take a few. That's not an exact number, for $65,000. I mean, this is what people were looking for, right? The reason why is this is not in a community. This is not in a big city. This is actually near a train station where eventually, 5-10 years from now, it's going to be an amazing exponential investment. You're going to have a good return on your investment. It's not going to be an ROI today. It's not going to be where you're going to have your condo put on Airbnb and start making money today. This is planning for the future. That's what prospecting is, right? Prospecting is buying land, sitting on it, and 10 to 15 years from now, you make some really good money on it. Quick example from my personal experience. We bought property in Tulum. We bought property in Tulum for X amount of dollars. And that same property 15 years later is worth 10 times, literally 10 times what we bought it for 12 years ago in Tulum. Well, there are still opportunities like that in Mexico. You just have to be smart about it. It doesn't mean to go buy some land in the middle of the jungle because someone's giving you some cheap cost per square meter. It needs to be strategic. There needs to be something that's going to be happening soon in that area. Along this Mayan train route is one, and there's a lot. It's big. I'm talking, it's big. It's thousands of kilometers. It's not just one place, okay? If you need information about that kind of stuff, I've got people that I can recommend to you. I've got places that I know of. Just send me a DM or send me a message below and I can get back to you on that, okay? Another strategic place, in my humble opinion, would be anything around the airport. Excuse me. It's new, it's being built, and anywhere around an airport, I don't know if you guys ever played SimCity as a kid, but when you put the airport, you built your city around that airport, right? You built your city around the entertainment stuff. That's what creates commerce and creates movement and money going through that area. So where the airport's being built right now in Tulum, anything around that within a 25 to 30 kilometer radius is a great investment. And there's still opportunities in those areas, $35,000, $40,000, $50,000 for a parcel of land. Now, you're not going to make money on it today. You buy it now, you might be able to double your money in 5 years, depending on where it is and what main roads are there. You know, so I've talked about this in my other videos. It's important that whomever you work with, whatever agency or real estate investment company you work with, that gives you tips on where to buy, gives you recommendations, but more than anything, doesn't just sell you a product. The idea is to work together to find the best possible value, best bang for your buck. So we talked about the Mayan Trail Train. Along the, I'm gonna say trail. Along the Mayan Trail, you're gonna have different pieces of land, but it's not just the entire train tracks, right? It's specific key spots where the train stations are gonna be at, and around those cities is where you wanna buy and invest your money in, right? For a long-term investment, for a prospecting investment. The Tulum airport, there's also talks right now of having the Formula One coming into Puerto Venturas. Formula One, big deal, right? Puerto Venturas, small town. What's gonna happen? Boom, explosion. Puerto Venturas is a marina. They've got some really nice multi-million-dollar homes. You've also got some $150,000 to $300,000 condos as well available in Puerto Venturas on the marina side. But the other side of the highway, which is still Puerto Venturas, you've got the Formula One coming in to build. So are there opportunities there? Absolutely. Is it gonna be as inexpensive as buying along the Mayan Trail Train? No. Buying along the airport in Tulum? Probably not. But it's still a very good investment. The cost per square meter is going to be a little bit higher, but your return on your investment, the time on your return on your investment will be less. You won't have to wait as long to get to return on your investment because it's already under development. It's happening now, right? Prospecting is amazing. Prospecting is fun. We can go further south. You want to go further south, go into Bacalar, go to Mahahual. You're going to start getting some really big pieces of parcel of land, some big pieces of land for the cost per square meter are just ridiculous, but you have to buy lots of it. So what are you going to do with that? That's a 15, 20, 30-year investment. You're going to buy land down there because you're now in your 20s or 30s, and when you're 50 and you're ready to retire, that's your 401k. You've got, 12 hectares, which is about 2.2 acres per hectare down in Mahahual or down in Bacalar, and you're going to now sell them for 80% more than what you bought them for. 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 200%. I can't tell you. But what I am telling you right now is if you take Quintana Roo, the beach, from Cancun to Mahahual, Chetumal, that entire coastline, if you look at how developed it is, look at the picture, go to Google Maps, go to Google Earth, go to Google Earth, look at it, look at the peninsula. Take a screenshot, cut it and paste it, take a screenshot of Miami to Fort Lauderdale, the Florida coast, and look at the difference in construction. Look at the difference in development that's happening between Florida and Quintana Roo, and look how much is left to do. There's a lot of room. You are not too late. Prospecting is not dead in this area. You have not missed the boat. You have not missed the train, no pun intended, to get your investment and get your return on your investment now.